shutdown and economic circumstances. And we have tried to...
The recording has started.
We've tried to err on the side of safety and, make sure that our employees are safe in all of the response, shutting down town hall, and making sure that we had a logical approach to that, to make sure that we continue to do the government's work, separate from our emergency response. And we kept the doors open and the lights on, and business was able to continue from an appropriate response. And there are many communities that completely had a cold, hard shutdown. And Fairfield, to its credit, I think, continued to do business, continued to serve our customers. DPW workers continue to do the work that they do, in addition to helping make all our spaces safe. And we got through the shutdown and are now working on reopening. So that process, as we shut down, we met with every department, reviewed every employee's circumstances and every department's needs, came up with a logical approach. David Kelly and the IT department made sure that all of the IT resources were put in place to allow people to work from home if that was appropriate, forward phones to home, and we continued to do what we needed to do. And I don't think anybody who needed to do business with the town wasn't able to. I think that we've serviced everybody. As a matter of fact, Betsy Brown commented that people from other communities were contacting her because town clerks or city clerks in other communities had shut down. So now we're at the point of reopening, and we have a plan to restart full in-person work by all the departments. We're going to phase that in according to the governor's guidelines, and that process will, we've met with every department again. If we met with them during demobilization, we wanted to meet with them as we remobilized. And what kind of circumstances exist now about people coming back to work. As you can imagine, daycare and senior care and medical conditions all complicate that. Understood through those meetings with all of our departments what their needs were. We will start to bring people back the Tuesday after Memorial Day. Just for the record, this is my third Memorial Day without a parade. I think that I'm doing something wrong. I came to Fairfield and all of a sudden Memorial Day became an option. But we will bring people back alternating days beginning the 26th or 27th of May. And the goal is to bring back 100% of our employees the 21st of June. And we're working towards that. Both of those dates are flexible, but we had to put a date on the calendar. And that's how we've approached it. We have worked with, reopening. We're planning for the beaches and public spaces. I won't go into all the details, except that, that has taken a tremendous amount of work. There are about 12 members of the department that have been working on various elements of emergency management, operations, planning, logistics, finance, and PIO,
planning, operations, logistics.
I think I missed one, but yeah. But we have helped the town as fire department help manage the fire department responsibility for all of the issues related to the shutdown and re-engagement, and have led that. The fire marshal's office now. A significant part of restarting is how do we help business get back to profitability? And we haven't, as a responsibility of emergency management, it includes the recovery phase. It's not just planning, mitigation, and response, but the recovery phase is the most important because all of those other efforts are for naught if the community doesn't recover. And our approach has been, we don't recover until the last resident and the last business recovers. So we have been working in the fire marshal's office, and the fire marshal has been part of a reopening task force with the zoning, building, health departments, and conservation to make sure that we give all of the business owners and tenants and landlords every resource we have at our available to us to help them reopen. As you know, next week they can open patio service in lieu of indoor dining in addition to their takeout. And there are a number of locations. I know that the fire marshal has reviewed a number of locations that those facilities that either have an existing patio that they want to expand or they haven't had patio service and they're establishing a temporary one. They can open that with 50% capacity of what their inside dining occupant load was, maintaining 6-foot distance, and working through all of those issues. And the fire code compliance has been a big part of that, as well as building and zoning issues as well. So we continue to work hard, and at the same time, the fire department continues to do the work that it does every day, albeit the call load is down. We will start to, I think that the state health department has looked towards, again, putting a date on the map when we will go back to normal response, and we're working towards that, and our call load will pick up again. Fire department personnel still wear masks in the building, still, full PPE, and that's the other part of, some of our responsibilities, managing the PPE requirements, not only for the fire department, but for all town government, as well as facilitating PPE. And the deputy, as one of his responsibilities in logistics, is managing resources that come in through donations or the state Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security to provide PPE that are going to first the healthcare facilities, assisted living facilities, working with the health department for that, but also now for businesses. There was a program for distribution where for businesses less than 50 employees, as they reopen, they can apply to the state and get 2 masks per employee, and we've been managing that. And I think there was how many, 1,700 masks that was distributed or something like that?
Oh, the business is 7,710.
It was distributed? Oh.
Well, I got to distribute 50 of them.
So it's 7,000, I stand corrected. 7,000 masks distributed to businesses so they can reopen. So a lot of work's been done, and I'm extremely proud of everybody in the department. Nobody has said that's not my job. Everybody feels privileged to be able to be part of this process, and they certainly have risen to the occasion. So that's my COVID report. I don't know if there are any questions regarding that. I'd be happy to answer them. Shall I go on? Can't hear you. You're muted.
You're muted. Great job, guys. That's all I have to say.
But you're not.
All right. So the budget, as you know, tonight we have a budget presentation to the RTM. We had.
Oh, Joe, can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear you. Dorothea's muted over there. And I did have a question.
She can unmute,
Thank
I think,
you.
right?
Thank you, Joe. I had muted. Did anybody else have questions on the COVID
You can
side?
unmute yourself
Yeah.
if you need. Right now, you know what? I see there's 2 people that are muted. I'm just going to unmute them for a second. Commissioners, I just unmuted 2 commissioners. You can mute yourselves back if you want. I wanted to make sure that you knew how.
Right.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick, you're good?
Yes.
Okay, good. And Commissioner Branley, you're good?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, you can mute yourselves if you want. Again, I don't want to touch it. Thanks.
Well, and Deputy, I think it's probably, other than Bill, everybody else I can see the raised hand, including Joe. What would you like to do, Joe?
I have a question for the chief.
Yep.
And the deputy chief, if I may. Chief, as with all this going on, as you being director of emergency management and anything, what has this taken away from your normal duties as from the fire department, and has anything really been suffering in the fire department because of all this?
Well, I can say that they haven't because of this guy right here and our shift commanders. I spend I spend probably 3 full days a week at town hall in meetings, and so I have not been able to focus on essentially anything else during this period. The time that I get back here, I am either helping write or reviewing documents that we're preparing for either internal town government businesses. I have to write a reopening plan for town hall. We want to make sure that every employee has a plan in their hand, that they understand what's being done to make their workplace safe. So all of those responsibilities have really, required me to focus, all of my attention. The deputy and I have had a good, as we have for the past 5 years, a very good distribution of labor. If there is a important webinar or conference call that we need to be on, every Wednesday there's an emergency management conference call. We try to both be on it, but if not one or the other. The deputy handled I was over at a meeting at Town Hall. The deputy handled a private nonprofit meeting today, also with Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. So we have balanced all of that. And a lot of the other work, you think, we have projects that we need to start, the bathroom projects in particular, those types of things. The hydrant raising project down on Fairfield Beach Road that we really need to just get into the details. We haven't started any of those. We have suspended just because we can't focus, and they're too important to allow some detail to fall through the cracks because we can't provide enough oversight to the project. So we have focused almost exclusively on, the day-to-day operations of the department to continue to run and manage all of the issues of normal activities. But from an administrative perspective, we're focused 90% on COVID and as it relates to the fire department and our emergency management responsibility.
Okay. Anyone else have a question on the COVID set? Okay, moving on then. Go ahead.
So the 2021 budget, as you know, it was approved by the Board of Selectmen. It went to the Board of Finance. The Board of Finance cut significant money out of the Selectwoman's budget, including the fire department, and a staff vehicle was cut. It was in for $50,000, and the fire marshal, more importantly, or most importantly, the fire marshal's position was eliminated. In our justification for the fire marshal's position, Fire Marshal Higgins and the staff did all the research to justify that, and you saw the fruits of that labor. I mean, this was probably the most well-documented position request or budget request that in my entire career, all of the details developed to justify that. And in any normal cycle, that would have been a no-brainer. The money was there, the commission support was there. We have built up a process to self-fund the position since 2017 and documented the demand. I think that Fire Marshal documented all of the buildings down to the number of units that we are required to be inspected, and the legal requirements. It's just, it's not the year, and no positions in town government will be filled most likely. So we do have a plan B, and I've spoken to the fire marshal about that and how to, use some existing staff that should our budget allow, that we would hire some overtime positions to help with the backlog. I have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to do the residential inspections. So we have a plan B that, once it's safe to go in and we can consider going in to do residential inspections, we will look at where we are budgetarily and whether there's enough budget flexibility in order to accomplish that. So I'm disappointed. Certainly, the fire marshal's office are, as Phil had said, when he has to tell his staff, no, you have to take lunch, you have to take a break. It doesn't make sense. You can't sacrifice yourself and your health in order to get the work done. So it's disappointing, but I think that certainly plan B for fiscal year 21, and we'll be back at it with a request for fiscal year 22, 23. So that's it on the budget.
Hang on one second. Bill, any questions?
Yep.
No, I don't.
Anyone else? Okay, anybody else raise their hand? Yes, Joe?
Joe, you're muted. Okay, I just unmuted you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. This has been my little pet peeve since day 2 that I sat on this commission, was to increasing the manpower in the fire marshal's office. And this is very disheartening. And I know the chief worked hard on it and everybody did. And, my feeling is, well, let's just roll back the fees to what they were. Because, this is just like, any of the other town bodies saying, we're going to do this with the money. This is why we're taxing you. This is what we're going to do with the money. And then it goes in the general fund and it disappears. And everything that money was allocated for doesn't happen. It doesn't materialize. And I'm very aggravated and disheartened with this whole thing. This is, like I said, since my second meeting on this commission years back, I said we had a problem in the fire marshal's office. And I just want to make, my opinion known that, we are now sitting out there with a huge liability. We came up as a commission and with the fire department a way to solve this. And now that liability still exists. And that's very concerning for me as a member of the commission. And I feel it is unjust to the people, that are coming in for all these permits, because that's why we went and did it. And now, to help them along, to make sure things don't get backlogged, to make sure that buildings are being inspected, and the money's not going for that. And I have an issue with that. And I just wanted to go on the record and say that. Thank you very much. I will mute now.
Okay. Anyone else? Hands raised, please. Harry, I can no longer, oh, there you are. I can see you.
I'm here.
Anybody else? I have a comment, which is I think we need to be very careful that as of July 1st, we figure out how to track the extra work, the work that's not getting done, and the sort of extra effort of no lunch, no what, which isn't overtime, but it happens, so that adds to our argument. And, depending on how things turn out, maybe mid-year we go back and say this was a bad decision, guys, but maybe we wait until the next budget round. But I think we need to prepare the argument for the impact in the next year. Excellent argument prepared for this. But I think we need to be very conscious that we need to supplement that before we go back in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
right.
Then testing process, Chief.
So very briefly, obviously, we don't want to bring in 600 candidates for oral interviews. We don't want to bring firefighters, 36 firefighters to do the interview process in the panels. We've worked with a testing company, and we will do video interviews. They have a third-party provider. All of the candidates on one day, all 600 of them, will log into a website, watch a video instructions, be interviewed virtually by a taped interviewer. So they'll watch the tape and respond to the questions. Those questions will then be captured. Data files, video files will be forwarded to, so we'll need 36 interviewers, 12 panels of 3. Each panel of 3 will have a certain number of interviews that they have to review over a 3-day period. They'll score them. Then they will meet to address any wide variations of their scores. If their score discrepancy exceeds 1 point on a 7-point scale, they will have to reconcile that. So that reconciliation meeting will happen before the end of May. All of those scores will then be tabulated by the testing company. They will produce a rank ordered list back to us first or second week in June, and we will come to the board of, we will have a process as we did the last time, and we should talk about this at our next meeting, is how to handle what we did the last time is we had an internal process. We rank ordered or re-ranked the top candidates, and then we produced that list of recommended hires to the Board of Fire Commissioners. I would hope that we would be able to do that same process again. If there is any reason to deviate from that, we should have a discussion about it. But I would hope that we will take the top 10, interview the top 10 on our list, rank order them, provide that list to the Board of Fire Commissioners. You have your own interview process. Hopefully it will affirm our recommendations, and then we will vote on establishing a final hire list from that process.
Bill, any questions?
No questions.
Anyone else? Hand raise?
No questions.
Okay. Good, Chief. Then donations. I don't think we have any this month that I saw.
Nope.
Okay.
Although I got to tell you, there have been quite a few donations of food delivered to the firehouse. And we got a call from Jim, Congressman Himes' office, and he said, hey, his staff said, we're going to bring donuts around to all the firehouses in the congressional district. I said, well, we don't do donuts. We would prefer fresh fruit. If you're going to bring anything, you don't have to bring anything. Please don't feel obligated. But if you are, bring fresh fruit because we're trying to eat healthy. So he came by and he called me after that. I wasn't here when he stopped. He goes, you are the only fire department in the entire congressional district that said no donuts. So kudos to the Fairfield Fire Department for healthy dieting.
Good. Great.
But we have had tremendous amount of support from the public during this process.
Great. Deputy Chief?
Good evening, everybody. Few things. Firefighter Peter Ayub has been working with logistics, as I told you in the last Fire Commission meeting, but now he's going back. The Connecticut Fire Academy has decided to have all their students remote in and have daily class, sitting down in a classroom. So he's going to be at work. We're going to have him in a room, a quiet room down at our training center, but he'll be remoted in where they're looking at him, seeing that he's sitting there. So he's going to have exams and everything like that. He's excited that he's going back to school because, the sooner he finishes the Connecticut Fire Academy, the sooner he's out serving with us. But he did yeoman service for us. He's a great kid. The logistics, as the chief mentioned about the logistics, it was that small business mask giveaway program. The state ran it and then gave us the masks, and then we distributed them. We just got our third bunch of them, which we're going to pick up tomorrow, but it'll be a total of 7710 face masks given out to 227 businesses, so that's pretty good. The port security grant, as we had said in the past, there was a port security grant which gave us some things for our fireboat, and so we had to go out for bid for $29,000 particular piece of it, which was putting U.S. Coast Guard software on the fireboat. So we had to go out and bid because it was so much money, but we're anxious to get this thing back so that we can get that fireboat back in the water. So good news is that a company won the bid. They think they'll be finished with the thing that has to be done with the boat out of the water tomorrow. Then they can finish a few things next week. We hope to have our fireboat back in the water sometime by hopefully next week. Also, there was other work being done on it. The pump drive had to be fixed, so Rich Demko rebuilt it in his shop and is giving it back to Beacon Point Marina where it's out of the water right now, and they're going to reinstall this drive into the into the fireboat, and hopefully we get that back in South Benson Marina. So, and then once we do that, we'll also take from downstairs. We'll put Marine 217. We're going to put that down in Yee Yacht Yard for the season. Let's see. I think, and that's it.
Okay. Bill, any questions?
No questions.
Joe, question?
Okay, I'm unmuted. This is just a procedural question. Do we have a secretary here with us?
Yes, June is listening in. If you want to talk to her, I'll have to unmute her.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure she was here, and hello, Jude.
So who's the 25630?
Anything else, Joe?
No, that was it. I just was looking through here.
Okay, yeah, no, she was on early.
Okay.
Any other commissioners have questions?
None.
Okay, Deputy Chief, I believe you have the Southport Volunteer Fire Department report too that they called in because of tech problems.
Yes, so David Becker asked to give you his regrets that he was driving, so he gave me his report. He said, let me just see, fortunately there's no one sick from his organization. They've locked down the building to any social members, so only people who are coming to ride do come into Station 4. And Station 3 also did that for us, which was very good. What they also said was that he said that they've been riding maybe 1 or 2 nights a week consistently, with a crew, manning their apparatus, staffing their apparatus. Let's see, they have been successful in getting some PPE for themselves through the state since they're supplemental R1 to the Fairfield Fire Department. So he was thankful that the state was able to give them some PPE. Let's see, he was also helping us. Southport has helped us procure a couple things for our Scott Air Packs from their resource at AAA. So they've been working with us, and we've been working with them. There's a lot of good work going back and forth. We talk to each other, so it's very helpful. And last thing was, Fire Rescue Academy. It's what we use here to do some online training to make sure that we're caught up with new, procedures and all. Southport also has an account with Fire Rescue Academy, and he says it's working well so that during this crisis, all their people that are home, they can keep up with some of their certifications and get some new training and EMS training and, firefighting training remotely, at least the classroom type portion. So they're saying that, he says that remote technology is working very well for him, for their organization.
Bill, any questions?
No questions.
Other commissioners?
No questions.
Okay. Is Stratfield on or any message on that one? I don't think.
No, I don't see them on the call.
Okay. Local 1426, same thing.
Same thing. I don't see them.
CERT, same thing.
CERT is not here, but I can give a report for them that their work is continuing with food distribution at the Department of Social Services and also at Operation Hope behind the First Congregational Church.
Great. Good work. Any old business? Any new business? I have one question about our packet. It included certificates from Bridgeport Hospital for a series of people.
Yes, that was I don't have it in front of me right now, but oh, here it is. Okay. So it was for a call that one of our fire engines went to, and they were supposed to have an awards presentation night for our 3 people, the 2 AMR ambulance techs, and also for a police officer, a Fairfield police officer. And that night was canceled due to, COVID restrictions. It was a night in April or so, I think. I think it was a fire commission, last fire commission night, I believe it was. But anyway, so they sent the certificates to them. So it was for a job well done.
Great. Is it appropriate for us to sort of acknowledge or send a message or chief on behalf of us?
Yeah, I will send it on behalf of the fire commission, send you a copy.
Is that meet with every commissioners? Everybody good with that? Nod of heads?
Yes.
Thumbs up? Yep. Bill, you're good?
I'm nodding.
Good. Okay. Any other new business? Seeing no hands. Any public comment? They can't. We haven't received.
You know what? They can email.
Okay.
They can email me. So let me just go into my email and see if there's public comment.
Great.
They can email the Fairfield Fire.
Yep. Please do.
And let me see if there is anything. No, there's nothing in my inbox for that. So.
Great. Thank you for checking. Is there any other business that we need to act on before executive session? Hearing none. I'll make a motion and then we can talk about it. That the fire commission go into executive session, including for part of it, Chief McCarthy, to discuss the contract renewal, the chief's contract renewal. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thumbs up.
Aye.
Okay. How this is going to work is the public is going to be cut out. The deputy chief will leave. The chief will stay. It will only be us and the chief on the line. Then the chief will leave when we're ready to talk on our own. And I will text both of them when it's ready for them to come back in the session. Any questions before we leave public session? And Jude, I'll take notes to get you what you need. I know you're saying yes. Okay, then Deputy Chief, when you're ready. Yes?
Okay, it's just going to take me a minute. I have to go through my steps to make sure I do it right, okay?
Right, absolutely. There is a process because just the other commissioners may or may not know, the public is on another line where they can't speak, and the chief has bridged them the way the town does it. And it's a sequence that you have to go through to make sure that you don't screw it up.
Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.
Yep.
Okay, let me see if I can get at the screen. Was Zoom. Recording is going to resume on this.
The recording has started.
WebEx meeting is connected. We have everybody. Nobody needs. Okay, yep, we're good. And
The bridge.
the bridge, yeah. I just I just have to. You should be doing this. I just have to unmute the host and.
Unmuted.
Okay, now everything is back to normal.
First, I'd like to point out and to the commission and thank you, the deputy, this is a complicated process to learn and to manage, and he's gotten us through this quite well, and I greatly appreciate the extra effort that it
Thank
took to do
Thank
this in the midst of everything else.
And thank you for not putting on my list of things to do is to learn the deputy's job because I'm incapable of that.
Okay, we are back in executive session at 8:23 so that I can tell Jude and the usual language of no motions, no votes, whatever is part of what goes in, but I can't remember how to recite it, guys. We're not going to take any votes in this session, but we would like to ask, and I'll provide Jude the minutes, that for the next agenda, it includes a vote on a recommendation that will read, the Fire Commission recommends to the first select woman the renewal of Fire Chief Dennis McCarthy's contract for 5 years with the terms being negotiated by town administration. And so that's what we'll put, and we'll vote it on the actual next meeting because we want to be transparent and give people an opportunity if they have any need to talk to any of us or come in public comment at next month's meeting when we're actually going to vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the support.
We're partway there. We got to go through next month, but you've got our clear signal. Commission members,
Thank you for me too. I think that's great. I'd love to see that.
I'd shake his hand, but we're not allowed to touch.
No, you're actually looks like you're sitting too close too, guys.
Might be it.
Commission members, do we need to add anything else or discuss anything else, or are we ready for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Rob, did you have a hand up? No. Okay. Second, please.
Second. Motion. There you go. John got it.
Okay. Bill first and John second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's 8:26 p.m. Good night, all. Deputy, you
Good night.
cut us all off.
Good night.
I will.
Thanks, folks.
The deputy and I
Bye-bye.
are staying. We're rejoining the RTM WebEx meeting for the fire department budget. I will be sure to give you a report tomorrow.
Okay. Are you actually testifying?
Yes, our budget comes up towards the end, right after the police department.
Okay. I don't know that it'll come up again. Obviously, our displeasure we already indicated, so you can certainly convey that we were pretty upset. But the other thing is, in the press reports that I saw about the overtime flap, I didn't see anybody indicate that we deliberately build in a certain amount of overtime by leaving a certain number of vacancies in both police and fire. And so that never goes away. It's part of our minimum staff, or not minimum staffing, it's part of our staffing plan. And you may have said it, I didn't see it reported anywhere, any place as a response to the comments that were made.
Here in the Board of Finance discussion, that there was built in 4 positions that are maintained vacant that are filled with overtime.
Good. Okay. Good. Unfortunately, the press didn't choose to report that, but okay. Well, good luck.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Good to see everybody.
Bye. And you need to end
I
up.
have a question before the chief dumps me here.
Right. Okay, Joe.
Just real quick. See, the oldest vehicle, car, in the fleet, because everything moves down, obviously you would have got that new car, they cut it out, I understand it. But what's the oldest car? What would have been the car that went to the junkyard? Or
It's an 08 former police car.
2008 Crown Vic, recycled from the police department.
Right, and that's one thing these people don't get, is the chief's not getting a new car. Yes, he is. We're replacing a 2008 vehicle, not a 2008 in
Right.
16 or 15 vehicle. They just don't
Yep.
get that. So,
Driven by the fire inspector.
yeah, all right, cool.
Okay, very good. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you.
You
Have a
all
good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.